Yes, hello. My name is Amy Greil. I'm here representing the KenoshaRising project, and we have a new series called Community Voices, where we sit down with visionaries and leaders from the creative economy to hear some of their perspectives and insights around the creative economy here in Kenosha County. So, as I said, my name is Amy Greil. I'm proud to be serving as a member of the City of Kenosha Commission on the Arts. And as part of our Kenosha Creative Economy Strategic Plan, we are developing this series of interviews, and it's my pleasure to basically be hosting a very interesting speaker here today. So I'm going to turn it over first to our my counterpart here, Kristin Krowe, who is our qualitative data collaborator, and she will kick off the questioning.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kristin Krowe. I'm a communication major at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside. I'll be graduating in December. I'm working with Amy on this project because I have an interest in qualitative data for future career options. And of course, I'm a supporter of the creative economy. All right.
So why don't we get started, and maybe we can just hear a bit from our colleague here to introduce himself. Paul is going to just kick off a little bit about himself and his businesses.
Hi, my name is Paul Campagna, and I have a couple restaurants in the downtown Kenosha area. Lifelong resident here in Kenosha. Seen a lot of changes over the years. Glad to be aboard. Thanks for having me.
Thanks
Very
for being
glad
here.
to have you.
Could you tell us about your businesses and what you do?
Sure. Well, first off, I do have a little passion for old buildings, so that is kind of where I started. I was in retail a long time ago. Before that, love old stuff, love to take it and turn it into something new. That's kind of where my passion lies and where my creative side, I think, goes. Since then, so I've done this for many years. Since then, I've also gotten into the restaurant business, taking these old buildings, turning them into restaurants, and that's been going quite well also. It's something that I never thought I would be into, but once I got into it, I really enjoyed it. So that's what I'm doing now. So changing a couple of buildings into some into some new restaurants. It's been a lot of fun.
So what is it about an old building that kind of inspires you to, I guess, want to develop new concepts there?
One, the character. I mean, you just can't beat the character of an old building. A lot of history. Kenosha's got some great older buildings in the downtown area. I live in an old house. I work in an old, building. I just find it very fascinating. A lot of times you get into these things and you tear them apart and you find some great stuff. So, but just that side of things, I just love it.
The history and almost the quality that it represents.
For sure. No, for sure.
So I think that in itself makes you a creative, but why would you consider yourself a creative?
Again, I think it's because of that. I mean, that's more what I'm passionate about too, which is awesome to have that. Something that I enjoy to do every day. What's fun for me is to, kind of scope out something old and then okay, just visualize what it's going to be. Okay, that to me is, I guess, makes me more of a creative. Once I'm done with all that, I like to move on, but that part of it I absolutely love. And then once I get into there and we get a restaurant going, then it's, a whole other creative side of things. I mean, that's starting, finding a chef and finding creative people to work it. And it goes, quite deep, actually. I mean, you're really working on the day-to-day to keep up with everything that's going on and to try to keep all the creative people in your circle keep on being creative. And it's a great environment right now that we're in for that.
That's fantastic. So not only is it creativity that helps you kind of create or design the concepts, but then, having this creative process around the people you bring in and how you allow them to actually kind of flourish in their own roles, and, hiring people that already are innately creative. It's like basically creating a container for people to really kind of express themselves as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we, like I said, right from the very beginning, you find a building. Okay, now you have to get somebody that's, creative enough to see, beyond all what's in there and what to do in a vision. So, you need your architects, you need your designers, you need all that. Now, once that's all done, then you have to find all your employees that are creative employees, right? That need to we have a coffee shop, for instance. We have to come up with creative drinks, coffee drinks, sandwiches, all that type of atmosphere. Then we have a restaurant also that has a chef, which has to come with creative dishes, and our marketing is creative. It never really ends.
It never ends.
It never ends.
Fantastic.
What would you think are other specific components of the creative economy? I mean, maybe outside of your business, as you mentioned before.
So I mean, we're talking about a creative economy that is basically, like you're talking about, really requiring people to think for themselves, be solution oriented, continually seeing those opportunities, possibilities that you're talking about when you go into an old space. Now you're seeing opportunities, possibilities, and that we're talking that there's a creative economy almost that is slowly overtaking what might have been an industrial economy formerly. And now it's almost like the currency is this creative ability. So people that can think for themselves, that take initiative, that's really driving our economy more so than, say, before, where it was just brute labor, that it was just acquiring land and capital and machinery. Now we're talking, hey, the real driver of this economy is actually in people's minds.
Well, it has to be, right? I mean, look at technology these days. I mean, you can't keep up ourselves, right? First you have to dream it, and then you have to create it. I mean, and that's what we're doing in this economy these days. I mean, our factories are gone. I mean, let's face it. We are in an economy now where we're dreamers and thinkers, and we're trying to find the next, new energy. I mean, we are, this is the economy now. It's not punching the clock and then, doing your 8 hours of labor and then going home. I mean, this is something that everybody is working on these days. So, yeah, I mean, it's. Again, it's never going to end. If it had to begin it somewhere, anyways. Otherwise, we'd still be in the Stone Age, right? So, so if we've come a long way, and we're going to continue to come a long way. And I feel like Kenosha itself, in the demographic that it is, the location where we're between two huge metropolitan cities, works great for us. We've got a beautiful lakefront. It's kind of that hometown feel. This is a great space for creativity, if you ask me. I mean, really, you've got colleges here. It's a wonderful place. I enjoy Kenosha. So
absolutely. So some of the things that you're talking about that we feel like really do sort of, I guess, fortify or strengthen a creative economy are some of those things like having access to colleges and universities kind of as factories, the new factory for, talented workers, highly skilled workers. We've got this awesome sort of downtown district on the lake on top of having great historical, architecturally significant buildings, but we've got this great downtown on a lakefront, and some of those, I think, elements all contribute to what makes a creative economy kind of tick, that it's got, all these different sorts of components, and I think that, certainly the restaurants and those amenities of quality of life tap in and really kind of keep that economy humming along, if you will.
For sure. I mean, who wants to live in a boring place?
No.
Right?
No,
Nobody, right?
No.
Right, so you want to work in an area, you want to be kind of close to home. With everybody that works these days, you've got, two-income families all over the place. Nobody wants to travel super far to do all these fun things. I mean, you want to have, your arts in your neighborhood. You want to have, your coffee shops and your restaurants, and you want to have your music. You want to have everything local. I mean, it's, it just makes sense. It really makes sense.
Yeah, and that notion of like creativity and a creative economy necessarily being rooted in a local culture that, really kind of is distinctive and unique. And I think that that's a special element to what we're seeing now as economic developers are saying, we actually have to be tied to the local community just because
Absolutely.
That's what our people are asking for.
Right. You have to have a strong downtown. I mean, you have to, right? I mean, that's your infrastructure right there. I mean, that's where it all stems from.
Right.
So, without that, it's, you're just living in a burb somewhere doing nothing. I mean, let's we all have Netflix, but you can't live on Netflix alone. So,
live on Netflix alone. I hope not.
So you have to get out and see things. I mean, we have kids, and they've all been in in one shape or form in something of the arts. I mean, we have some that are artists, we have photographers, we have singers, we have all this. We have sports kids,
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 and my fiance has 3. So,
wow,
so
wonderful.
yes,
All right,
so
it's
yeah, it's been a lot of stuff going on through the years. With that said, it's been a proven fact that kids that are involved in arts and sports and so forth, they just grow up to be better humans. I mean, that's, smarter, better people. So.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that kind of what is the link if we're talking creativity as bigger than, say, limited to maybe music or writing or visual arts. That creativity is really so much more to do with, being able to think abstractly, whether it's technology or that is not, creativity isn't limited to the arts.
Absolutely.
But arts certainly, I would say, support and really foster that sense and ability to be creative. So there is like an indelible link between arts and creativity, though they're not necessarily the same thing.
I believe so. Yeah, for sure.
So the businesses definitely, you said, going from industrial to the creative economy, they have to adapt in a way. So how have your businesses adapted to the creative economy?
Kind of like I said before, it's ever changing. We cannot stop. I mean, from advertising, to just the different things that we, from entertainment standpoints, that we do at all of our locations. Those are things that we're creative in. We're also creative in designing menus and designing the food, the drinks, all that plays into that. So, and it will never stop. If it stops, we're out of business.
So what, I'm interested, Paul, if you have a perspective on, many businesses will talk about workforce as being such a critical piece to their businesses that really concerns them because maybe they can't get the labor that they need, or the labor that they need or want isn't necessarily, at their fingertips or easily, acquired, if you will. So how do you stay on top of kind of this pressing issue of everybody wants the talent, right? So how do you compete in that space?
It's tough. Every day we struggle with that. So I don't think it's anything new between my business or anybody else's. I know everybody out there is having a hard time at some point in time with labor force. It's not just always the person that you have working for you. It's the person that's working right for you. And that's the hard part. Everybody has to be in our little community of 40 employees. We all have to try to get along with each other. We all try to build a bond of a family. It's not always easy, but it's always a challenge to make it all fit. That honestly is always going to be a problem. I mean, I don't see it not stopping. That's one of those things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, and we just work through that.
Excellent.
So what do you see as successful possible strategies for the Kenosha creative economy?
So thinking, I guess, more broadly, rather than, the fantastic restaurants that you've created, what at kind of a macro level, if you will, do you see as sort of these sorts of issues or opportunities that really push this community, I guess, into the next big thing? Where are some of, I guess, those opportunities that you see?
Well, I feel Kenosha nowadays has gone away from the factory mentality, which is great. I mean, I think they're definitely becoming a little bit more, open-armed. We still have that small town feel, but we're definitely more accepting to change now, which is great. In the past, it was always, I felt like always a little bit of a struggle for that. So for us to move forward, I think that's already a big push. That we have some of that in play. That's working for us.
Receptivity to change and tolerance.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got great places like this, for example. We've got some Kenosha Creative Space is working downtown also to be another hub for artists and so on and so forth. I just feel like we are again strategically located to where we are receptive to a lot of new things and a lot of people coming in from these bigger cities that are like, hey, this is a great spot. We can really make things happen here. You could tell just by, even our corridors getting full of stuff. Well, that doesn't happen just because you're a corridor. You also have to have some great things for those people to do, right? So, we do have a lot of, places to work and employees and so on and so forth. Well, they want to do things here, and I think Kenosha's becoming that spot.
That, like, sort of those amenities, those lifestyle
Absolutely.
sorts of, I guess, activities and all those quality of life measures that people
Correct.
are looking for. Fantastic. Well, all right. I think that should do it, unless you had any other thoughts that you'd like to share about kind of where you see us heading as a community. You think we're on the right track, it sounds like.
I do, yes. So like I said, I've been here, my whole life, and I've seen the ups and downs of Kenosha, and I definitely think we're on the uptick here. So
definitely. So
keep pushing forward.
That's fantastic. So in your view, over your lifetime, you can really see a change in the mentalities that people are more willing and
Absolutely.
I guess open to what this creative economy is demanding of them.
Very much so. Even in your colleges and so on and so forth, I think, I've my son goes to Parkside also, and he sings in Rita, at the Rita Hall. So it's just a beautiful spot that's come over the years, and there's great rumors of Carthage coming down. So these are all positive things. If the colleges didn't think it was worthy, then they wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Really exciting. Really exciting.
Very much so.
Well, thank you very much, Paul, for your time here and for sharing some of your perspectives and your insights into where we're headed. And really best of luck to you and your businesses and in your family life. And we'll stay tuned. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.